Two young Aussie blokes had this wild idea. Tap to buy now and pay later. 6 years on, that little trick turned into the biggest corporate deal in Aussie history. Was it a fintech revolution or just the world's priciest debt trap? Because here's the kicker. What happens when the bills finally land? This was a proper David versus Goliath story. Two underdogs taking on the banks. Millennials hated credit cards, the fees, the fine print, but still loved the buzz of shopping. Afterpay brought back the old school lay-by, slapped on a mint green logo, and made it instant. At first it felt like magic, a win for shoppers and a win for Aussie pride. But by 2018, the headlines were flashing red. 1 in 6 Afterpay users were overdrawing their accounts, missing bills, even borrowing more money just to pay off old ones. Like the young bloke who afterpaid sneakers, then groceries, then rent, until the bills piled higher than the credit card he was trying to dodge. On one side, a feel-good national success story. On the other, a debt trap ticking louder by the day. From day one, the pitch was genius. Make credit feel painless, make spending feel fun. 4 installments, 0 interest, approval in seconds. Shoppers thought easy. Merchants saw bigger baskets and happily forked over a 4 to 6% cut on every sale. It wasn't finance anymore, it was fashion. Afterpay splashed logos in shop windows, slapped its name on Fashion Week and plastered walls with cheeky lines like Afterpay is like eating the whole carton and spreading the calories out over 6 weeks. From TikTok hauls to runway shows, even AR try-ons, Afterpay wasn't selling a payment option, it was selling a vibe. For a generation raised on treat yourself, it wasn't just a button at checkout, it was a permission slip. By 2021, they'd roped in 16 million users and 100,000 merchants worldwide. That little Afterpay it button? Retailers couldn't afford not to have it. Then came the fever pitch. The company had never posted a profit, but the stock just kept climbing. And in 2021, the big bang. Jack Dorsey's Square swooped in with a $39 billion deal. Australia's biggest takeover ever. Times Square lit up with Afterpay logos. The two founders, overnight billionaires. Two Sydney mates, backyard idea, fairy tale ending. But even at its peak, the whispers grew louder. Was this a revolution or a bubble about to pop? The champagne didn't last. Apple, banks, and a swarm of copycats jumped in. And by 2025, the party was over. New laws dragged BNPL into the same rulebook as the banks it once mocked, forcing credit checks, licenses, the whole lot. Meanwhile, inflation hit a 30-year high. Suddenly, those easy installments weren't so easy. Aussies who once tapped carefree were now struggling to keep up. And the banks got their revenge. Mortgage brokers told people, close your Afterpay if you want a home loan. Some even turned around and offered them shiny new credit cards instead. Classic old-school payback. That same model which pulled in 16 million users and 100,000 merchants now had to play under stricter rules. Afterpay's legacy? A cautionary triumph. Yes, it put Australia on the fintech map and made 2 billionaires. But it also left behind the question, was this empowerment or just debt dressed up in mint green branding? Shake up the system, but expect blowback. Growth without guardrails leaves 1 in 6 users in trouble. Trust is fragile. Solve a real pain. Millennials feared credit cards. Afterpay swapped fear for cute little payments. Culture beats corporate. They didn't sell finance. They sold a vibe. Aussies even turned it into a verb. I'll afterpay it. Regulation always catches up. If it looks like credit, sooner or later it'll be treated like credit. Debt is dopamine. Afterpay made borrowing feel like a dopamine hit. Brilliant? Yeah. Lasting? Not really. 4-step excuse. At the end of the day, they gave every Aussie shopper a 4-step excuse to splurge. We break down stories like this every week on Media Mates. And if you're building a brand and need growth strategy, reach out. We'd love to help. Afterpay didn't just change how we shop. It changed how we think about money, mixing freedom with temptation, innovation with caution. Buy now, pay later, and eventually learn from it. Subscribe for more Aussie brand stories, the wins, the wipeouts, and the what were they thinking moments. Cheers.